Siyakaruam Sakama. Wisdom is the voice of power. I want to first thank everybody for taking a listen through the lessons. Those that have left feedback, I appreciate it. As I always state, I appreciate all comments, aside from sheer ignorance, which I rarely get. But I think most people understand that there's always a battle with the mind. So we have to keep guard between what we think is reality versus what we have been taught as truth. Like I always state, truth, if you seek only truth, then you only seek one half of reality because you often omit the underlying reason for why it's being called the truth. And when you just seek truth, oftentimes we don't notice the lie. So I advise all to, seek light in reality. And those like myself and many other brothers and sisters on the frequency, we shed attempts and try in our attempts to shed light on subjects such as history, such as psychology, such as, these things that will help uplift anybody that's been miseducated by the lies of history and the lies of what's taught in the reality today in the world. So, as I've stated before, I will be doing a series of questions, pretty much random questions as they pop to my head. I'm sure people have thought about it before. Sometimes you may ask, but of course, in this society that we live in, you're not supposed to question. You're just supposed to believe and leave it at that. But as we know, that's not how you get through life. These questions I will attempt to keep short. They will be short, straight to the point. They'll be open for discussion, open for debate, beneficial debate. Try to omit ignorance and emotion if you can help it. Keep things logical. Analyze critically. Think for yourself, judge for yourself. But I am looking for open discussion on these questions. Now, I will be doing questions for the most part pertaining to the lessons that I've already posted. The lessons I already have, such as Decoding the Ghost Spells, that series. A few on population control, message to my people, things like that. But some of the questions that I present may have nothing directly to do with those lessons, although when you're on the frequency, everything is related in knowledge. So there's still going to be relevance to the questions. So the first question, it goes along with Decoding the Ghost Spells, particularly 202, because we often are taught ignorantly to believe that the Bible and the Quran and all of these religious texts are literal books. None of these books are literal, and they never were intended to be literal. If you exegetically study these books and, whatnot, you will understand that at that time, they all had their specific meanings and their reasons. However, over the years, these meanings change. So we have to understand that in our modern day world, the meaning of these texts would be different than these texts were written 1,400, 1,600, 2,000, 3,000 years ago, at that time when the world was a different place. So, with that in mind, my first question would be, if the Bible is literal, as most of us really want to believe that it is a literal, actual documentation of history and the happenings and events from the beginnings to the ends, if the Bible is actually literal, then why did God create light before God created heaven? God created light in Genesis 1, verse 3 through verse 5. Then in Genesis 1, 6 through 8, God created heaven. Now, according to the way that we're taught, of course, God has always been in heaven. Well, if God has always been in heaven, why did God have to create light before heaven? Heaven wasn't even the first priority. Light was. So what's the significance of that? Now, also, furthermore, if you logically think about this, why are there two indications in Genesis chapter 1 where it says, let there be light? Because Genesis 1:14 says, let there be lights in the firmament. And Genesis 1, as I said, verse 3 through 5, it said, let there be light. Now, extension of that question, which is all on the same topic, why did God create the earth before the sun? The creation of the earth was on the third day, Genesis 1, verse 9 through 10, and the creation of the sun and the moon and the stars and all of those were on the fourth day, Genesis 1:14 through 19. Now, scientific studies show, and I think anybody with logical reasoning and able to use those faculties of the mind would not put the existence of the earth before the existence of the sun. So to reiterate those two questions, which is all entwined into one, if the Bible is literal, then why did God create light before heaven? Why are there two let there be lights, creations in the Genesis chapter 1? And then why did God create earth before the sun? So I look forward to your comments, look forward to your reasoning, look forward to your questioning. All minds available are welcome. Shalom.